And not? Why not?
Because, quite frankly, I've had enough of this nonsense.
You've
Of
had enough
of
cigar smoking.
of
So
this
just so
this.
you know, everybody that's listening now, because this isn't private, Frank and I are new best friends on Instagram.
You're well, Frank. To start with FR anyway, so you're still friends. I was going to try and make something out of it, but didn't.
Hmm. You know him better, so
He
you don't
sent
want
me.
to.
He sent me. He sent me, which I think you sent me as well. He
Yeah.
sent me a message. I think he was in the nicest way, mildly agitated that I had overspun his dislike of Monte
Hmm.
Cristo cigars. I said to him, you're more than welcome to correct me. I mean,
I told him to come on the show.
I did oversell it a little bit. I did
Yeah.
oversell it a little
I,
bit,
I
right?
also told him in his when he DM'd me that I go, thank you for setting the record straight. By the way, I've done the perfect Usman cigar light while we wait for our sommelier to show up.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I said come on the show and tell Rizza.
Set the
And
record straight.
yeah, and
Put
he
the
and he and
record straight.
that he didn't respond to. Everything else
Send
he
him the link.
responds to.
Send him the link for the show.
Oh, well, I will. Next week I'll say come on the show. Here's the link.
No, DM him now.
You
You
DM him. He
never know.
knows you
He might
better.
have.
You DM him. See what he knows about UFOs. He probably designed them. He's the number one car designer in the world. Does a living. Go,
He
Frank, come on the show.
is the number one. Well, it is an opinion, right? But I happen to
Well,
like. I happen
at
to
the end,
like his work. It's
just at the
very,
end of
very
the
good.
day, I understand it's an opinion, but at the end of the day, really, other than our opinion, what opinion counts? I'm just saying. Let's just be honest.
That's very correct. That's very
There you go.
correct. That's very
Now,
correct.
now let
But
me
no,
explain.
I do
This
like.
life
Go on. What are
here.
you smoking, by the
Look
way?
at it. Oh, I'm smoking my usual, my CAO, because I figured it's
Okay.
we're talking about UFOs. I gotta get in the UFO mood. I figure a CAO Brazilian's a good UFO. But yeah, if you want to get Frank in on it, there you go. What are you, a sailor? What the hell? Look at this guy. He's going to go the Navy.
He's a puff pastry.
Are
He's
you little
basically an
puffer, you.
Usman pie.
Ah, that's nice.
Usman is
Wait
very
for me.
serious.
Oh, he's
Usman
a
is
very
reading
serious.
through. Usman's reading through his emails right now. He's just
Oh yeah,
checking.
yeah. That and he's whatchamacallit. He's just going. I do look like that Pillsbury Doughboy.
He's reviewing he's reviewing the history for a
Oh
show
yeah, yeah.
which he's going to be presenting shortly.
In five
Um,
minutes or less. Hey, by the way,
what's really good? What's really good is at this moment, at this stage, Usman hasn't said a single word. Cue the titles.
oh wait, okay, I'm gonna do the titles. Usman, we love you. We mean it.
Hello.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Oh bloody hell! This is getting fiery.
Welcome to Habano Saturday, the fastest growing cigar show on YouTube with over 100,000 subscribers. Come join us every Saturday live. Every Saturday live.
Just so you know, that other Saturday live costs us a lot of money. Hey, by the way, we have a real sponsor for the show.
You're welcome.
Don't tell me Raza's. Don't tell
coming
me
out of my
Raza
own
is dishing
pocket.
money. Yeah,
I'm sorry?
I was gonna say, don't tell me if Raza is dishing out of his own pocket.
I
It's
paid the extra
Riz's new membership club. It's called Hilda's House of Pain. And here I'm going to play the ad for you so you guys can see it. With the new HBN 3-outlet sensing countdown timer with remote control, you can set your whole house up to look like Christmas 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The timer comes with a 2, 4, 6, and 8 hour countdown function. The outlets can be easily operated by hand or by a remote control with the dusk to dawn on and off switch. And they come with 3, 2, and 1 outlet accessories. We use them here at 2OF Entertainment. There you go. There's a sponsor.
What I like.
That was your voice. That was your voice.
No kidding, it's my voice.
What I like about this advert is
Yeah.
Stephen didn't do a segue in. He just went advert.
Yeah. You want me
There was none of this like very sophisticated YouTubers will say, well, and by the way, on this topic, I'm having mental health issues. What better than so and so therapist? But Stephen didn't do this. He just went blunt force trauma. There's your advert out of the way.
Yeah, and we're done. We've you paid your 50 cents. Your ad's out of the way. We have a show to do. I got things. I'm an important guy. And first of all, I don't have mental health issues. I give mental health issues. So Gio, to that, let me just say, to all the fans that are watching, or the fan, Gio, and number two, to McAllen, thank you for making a beautiful scotch. I'm waiting for my cask to arrive. I'm sure it's just lost on a boat. So look at that. So, hey, Mr. Puff, I see you're dressed in very
Wow.
traditional, very nice. You're very you with H. Upmann. We're going to talk about them, but you're dressed very traditional today. Is there something going on, and there's an invasion we don't know about? Is there something a holiday, or what's going on?
There is a flying saucer on his head.
Ooh, I see that, and that's
There's
part of
a
our topic.
hint to the program that's
Oh, God.
coming.
Or
The
breathing
thing
heavy.
the thing is, and now please don't say that this is an excuse,
Uh-huh.
but the fact is, no,
Okay.
there is no. I'll tell you, and you will exactly know what happened.
Sure.
I was out for some household chores.
Yeah, honeydew.
Yeah, and when I came back
Mm-hmm.
on time,
Yeah.
and the whole point was to reach on time and everything, so that I can get ready and everything is done, and I don't waste my time,
Yeah, sure.
and I'm on the show.
Mm.
And as always, somebody was going through their Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
and it kicked in so bad that I had to spend a good amount of time reminding them that there is a show by
Yeah.
a channel called Two Old Farts
Yeah.
that I was introduced to, and that show is actually going to go live in the next 50 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah. So because of that entire reason, I had a lot of time gotten wasted.
Gotcha.
So
Hey,
the only thing that I could have done in that case was wear a nice jacket,
Yeah.
wear my traditional Pakistani cap,
Sure.
and show up for the show on time.
And you look.
Stephen,
Yeah.
You were not there.
And you look.
I don't know about you, but it still sounds like an excuse to me.
What?
So just wait. Just so we're clear, for the fans that are watching, Rizza gets an email on Wednesday that reminds him of the show on Saturday. He also gets an email on Friday to remind him there's a show on Saturday, and he also gets an email an hour and 10 minutes before the show to remind him there's a show today. So just.
But I forgot that it was Saturday today. It's not about the show. I just forgot that it was Saturday today.
So the 930 emails that say the show starts in like an hour mean nothing to you.
Yeah, but which hour?
No, Stephen, the thing is, see, you again did not realize the fact. You and I have to.
The UFOs got him.
Yeah, and we no. It's like you and I have to work our butts off to put the bread on the table, whereas the royalty does not even has any inclination of doing so and doesn't know what day it is. He was like, whenever I feel like it is Saturday, and it'll be Saturday. So it's the royalty and the royalty's entire way of doing
Let
things.
it be Saturday, and it was Saturday.
Oh, right.
Wow. It's touching. In fact, I'm touching myself after that.
All of this feels like a little bit of a distraction. This looks like, when you were back at school and someone had to do a presentation. They would basically delay the presentation by talking about what happened at home.
I was going to say on that note, before he starts all of his drama and crying again, Stephen. So I'm going to dive right to it.
Hang on, timer.
I don't give a.
So you gotta get a timer.
Hang on.
Stephen, what cigar are you smoking? Let's at least talk about that. Because
I'm smoking because CAO was nice enough to reach out to me on Instagram the other day. I decided I would smoke another CAO Brazilian Amazon. When I remember the Instagram one where I showed you the perfect light the perfect cigar, because one of the three of us doesn't know how. I don't want to mention any names. Guy with the baseball cap. But so I said it was a beautiful blah blah, and CAO, and I tagged them, of course, because it was a Brazilian Amazon, and they reached back and they go, "We're glad you love our cigars," and I wrote back, "And all your women," and now we're friends. So go figure. So yeah, so I figured in honor of that, to CAO Brazilian or CAO, I'm smoking their CAO Brazilian Amazon, which we all know is like my favorite go-to.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
There you go.
Do you know how many women are in Brazil?
How many?
About a Brazilian.
It's gonna be a long show. So,
Yeah, I told you. Even it's something which kicks in him after a while, and
yeah.
it's all right.
Do you want to
Yeah.
know what I'm smoking? Are you interested?
Please
If
tell us.
you're
We're
interested in telling us, or if you really are actually smoking something, then show us or stop wasting our time.
Usman, can you give me an analysis of what I'm going to smoke?
Oh, fuck, man. Right. So, gentlemen, as I said, and as I mentioned very honestly at the start of this show, Stephen, can you please put him back on so that I can talk about the royalty while he's there? So, the royalty, His
Yeah.
Royal Highness Mr. Raza Adil,
Yes,
is
yes.
going to smoke a Royal Reserva of the Monte Cristo.
And don't
It-
forget the word reserva starts with reza.
Of course,
Oh,
the
God.
Royal Reza is the Royal
Mm.
Reserva. So that is why there is RR. It's a cigar which has come out recently or has reached the markets recently. It's
Right.
an additional age of 3 years,
Okay.
and the royalty is smoking it. If I'm not wrong, the second or third in this week. And the cigar costs somewhere around 270 to 300 pounds a stick. So, so I'm sure by now you would have figured out why do I call him the royalty.
Mm. My
With
God.
that, I will move on
Yes.
to the poor man's smoke, which is
H.
which
Upmann.
is H. Upmann Petit Corona, or which is the size, but or the name for this cigar is H. Upmann Half Corona. It comes in a box of 25 and these very decent, nice, fancy tin boxes, which I really love and very handy to carry anywhere.
Cool.
So, without
Usman, I need a shot of the cigar again, please.
okay, sir.
Oh. Uh-oh. The
Hang on,
Moyle
hang
just
on.
flipped it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I need a shot of the cigar for the a close up.
Oh,
Very
look at
good.
that.
No. Can you
Oh,
make
my.
them wider apart so I can see your face? No, the other one there as well.
He
Perfect.
can't change his face, Riza. This is how it goes. There you go. That's a beauty.
Done.
Oh, look at that. That's nice. Oh, I'm gonna cry. You
Oh
don't see
my
stuff like
god.
that. You don't see stuff like that. And I don't want to say anything about the Monte Cristo you're smoking because I don't want to upset our new friend Frank. But he should come on and talk about the bands. Anyway, go ahead. So, I thought you're DMing him to have
One
him
of
come
the
on live.
reasons,
There you go.
I was smoking this Monty, one of the reasons
Mm-hmm.
is
Someone's
just
wasting our
to
time
say
for
to
the show.
Frank that this band is a very, very classical band. I think Usman will even agree with me. The understated band, the one that kind of says it all without trying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for the fans that don't know, before Usman does his thing, we last week on the show we told the story of Frank, the car designer. We'll leave his last name out for now. And we told the story of how BMW got their tailpipe and whatnot. And he was on a special program with a bunch of us, and he was talking about how he, I guess, not disliked, but it's just Monte Cristo, not his favorite label or band. And so Riza maybe embellished a little bit. So me being the warm, wonderful, sensitive person I am, I did that as a short and sent that to Frank, who's our new best friend now. And he came back with a retort, like two schoolboys getting scolded. So I said, "Thank you, Frank. Please come on the show and beat up Riza." So I'm waiting for Frank to come on the show and beat up Riza because I will just enjoy that, and I don't have
When
to
are
do
we
anything.
doing that? When are we doing that? Now I'm excited.
Whenever Frank wants to come on the show, he has an open invitation.
On a very serious note, because
Here
I'm
we
a
go.
serious one, yeah.
Yeah.
Just for Usman's feedback, I don't know if Usman has smoked this before or not. I smoked this yesterday. I'm smoking it today in different conditions. From the get-go, on a slow retrohale, this is like cane sugar, like brown sugar. There's that taste, there's that aroma. It's a spectacular cigar. It's not a good cigar. It is spectacular. I highly recommend you get your paws on this.
Oh, there you go. Monte Cristo, you owe us money. There you have it.
Right. So, with all of that said, I'll only add one thing.
Yes.
if you have spent almost 300 pounds, it bloody well tastes right, or else I'm just gonna throw someone out.
Well,
So
I'm of the opinion that cigars are priced according to how nice they are. I believe in the fundamental quality of rolled leaves, and on this occasion, it surpasses all my expectations.
Wow.
it
Wow.
was
Habanos.
extremely hard for me to
I just
control
want to say
myself there
Habanos produced an
because this.
outstanding product. And what gives me confidence in this product is this.
All right, hold on. Let me whatchamacallit. Who are we plugging today?
Oh,
English market selection, as provided by Hunters and Francow. I think the leading importer of Cuban cigars into a non-Cuban jurisdiction anywhere in the world.
looks like
Okay.
Raza is getting some sponsorship from Hunters soon.
No, the best thing about this is I don't need money to entice me. I say these things out of free will. I've always been
And
a
a box of
supporter
free
of the
and a
Cuban
box of
cigar
free
industry.
cigars apparently too. So
And
you know,
that too, Royal Reservers. Yeah, of course I understand that.
there you go. So, and
Right.
just so you know,
So, yeah.
no, I was
Go
just
ahead.
saying, just so you know, the CAO Brazilian, a fine smoke for $4.50 a pound, and there you go. So,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Now, on
Usman,
that
your
note,
turn, sir.
on that note, let's light up the cigar
Ooh.
first.
So can
Oh.
I press the timer? Let me know when I can press the timer.
He's lighting the cigar.
Whatever.
He doesn't care. He's like, whatever you want to do, just do it.
Usman, hold the cigar higher.
He holds it any higher, it'll burn his hat.
See? Okay, and our feedback for the archivist matches. All of their matches which come with this slightly red color phosphorus thing, they
Right.
just are kind of crap and they don't really stay there.
Well, they're not a
with
sponsor.
yeah, but they're not. But the ones with the white phosphorus, see, it's just gonna go.
Ooh. Wow.
And this wastes at least
5 minutes.
three matchboxes.
Why did you buy them then? Why don't you just do it old school with a torch, burning of a peasant or something? So for you people that are on the podcast that can't see, Usman is now lighting his cigar like a professional. He's has a little thing called a match. For you kids that don't know what matches are, look it up. He's lighting his cigar old school. And there you go.
Can I just add? He's not lighting it like a professional. He's lighting it as a professional.
Sorry, yes, because he's our sommelier. So there you have it.
Right. So now that my H. Upmann half Corona is lit up, let's talk about the cigar, or the brand that we're going to talk about in terms of the history. Raza can do whatever he feels like in terms of the timers. But right. So 1854. No, 1854. No, 1844. Gentlemen.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1844. The H. Upmann family decided to launch a brand called H. Upmann. Now, the fun part is there are few people who say it is H. Upmann and few say it was Upmann. Now, depends on which one do you go. Min Ron Nee, who was the gentleman considered to be an authority on Cuban cigar, writes it as H. Upmann in one word, whereas few other historians write it as Upmann Brothers, which was the name of the company. The cigars have been coming from Cuba. Vuelta Bajo region is where the tobacco is being sourced. The fun fact is, till 1922, it was with that family. But then, Raza's favorite, J. Francow and Company, drum rolls, company, United Kingdom purchased the shares because the World War I hit the company badly and the business was not in good shape. So 1922, the ownership of the organization changed and moved to J. Francow & Co., which is known as Hunters and Francow now in London and are one of the bigger distributors of Habanos for the United Kingdom. They had it till 1937 when this moved to Menendez and Co., which were the owners of, on today's show, in the hands of our royalty, Mr. Royal Raza Reserva, Monte. So 1937, again, it changed. But the best part is this pre-revolutionary brand continued its production even after the revolution and has been categorized to a global brand from a second-tier local brand in 2007, and is now one of the 6 global brands that produce some very fine, mild to medium bodied cigars. My absolute favorites in this ones are H. Upmann Magnum 50, which tells you there is a Linea Magnum, which is Magnum 46, 48 was a limited edition, 50 was a limited edition, 52 was a year of the Tiger, 54 is a regular production, and 56 was a limited edition. Along with that, they have a standard Linea Classica, which has the very, very fun history attached to it, that the third person on the show, which is our dear Stephen, comes from a country where this brand was the favorite of the then President of the United States. So John F. Kennedy, while he was looking to put an embargo on Cuba,
Marilyn Monroe,
secretary and everyone else to go out in Washington and secure any and every H. Upmann cigars that were available. There are 2 stories about which Vitola. Some say it was Petit Upmann. Some say it was Upmann Majestic. So these, again, thinner cigars, because that is the time when we had mostly thinner cigars. 42, 45, 46 was primarily the maximum size somebody would get. And they were procured, which were then served till Kennedy was there. Well, yes, he could not procure cigars in the US, but Kennedy got his supply till his last days from his friend who was a minister in the British government, and the cigars used to go. So H. Upmann had an amazing legacy, and as a result of this beautiful legacy and grandeur, this year, Habanos on the festival in February 2025 is celebrating the 180th anniversary, or the birthday, as whatever you want to call it, for the brand H. Upmann, which means we should expect some really nice, interesting smokes coming our way sometime soon. With that, I will beg leave and enjoy my H. Upmann half Corona.
very nice. That was very cool. I like the H. Upmann 54s. Like when I see those, and wherever I am on the planet, I buy, enough that customs won't stop me at the border and strip search me. Which, if you're into that, it's okay. So I do like my H Upmanns. So I do like those. Yeah, those are a great smoke.
Absolutely.
So I like that.
So our royalty, was I within my time limit, sir, or did I overstep? If I did, please forgive me. Please do not put me behind bars or kind of throw me out of the show. I would really oblige if you do that.
I believe you had 8 seconds left.
Wow, look at you. Not bad.
On those 8 seconds, if I had those 8 seconds back, I would ask you a question on the H. Upmann Vitolas. And the question would be, what is your favorite H. Upmann? Not JFK's. What is your favorite H. Upmann Vitola to smoke on a regular basis?
If you would have paid some attention to while I was talking and not being absent-minded or your Alzheimer's kicking in, I was very explicit in saying my absolute favorite was and is H. Upmann Magnum 50, and that's when I started the Linea Magnum.
And which is your bucket list H. Upmann cigar to smoke that you haven't smoked?
Well, Stephen, let's not go there, because there's a cigar which is on my bucket list, and that cigar was initially procured from Tom Tom by the royalty.
I
Was
already
And
know where
smoked
smoked.
that was
And smoked.
and stayed there for 3 months.
Mm.
Smoked.
Oh,
That's
really?
why
I
I want you to
expected.
say.
I
That's why I
expected.
would like
I
for you to
expected.
enunciate it.
I expected that maybe while I was being sent some cigars, that would be one of those. It did
Yeah.
not come.
Those
Broke my
only come.
heart. Broke my heart, and now
Those only come in person.
I've
Those
just
only
now
come in
taken
person.
it. I've just taken that on the upper side of the bucket list, in
Right.
which so my bucket list has some attainable items and some non-attainable items. I've
Just
just moved it from the attainable to the unattainable.
unattainable. Just so you know, I don't want to mention any names, but they were going to send me 2 special cigars from a designer that works with EGM. And they never they apparently they got lost somewhere. And the same thing, I think they got smoked at Tom Tom. So yeah, so I have the unattainable and attainable. So I have to go to London now and spend like 8,000 US round trip because I don't fly cattle,
Everyone
to
has
go hang
to.
out, to go smoke cigars now with all the boys. Because as Riz
Just to
as
clarify, he means the Alexander Craft
thank you
cigars.
very little.
No.
Yes.
See again. See, the royalty does not talk about us. The royalty talks about only the ones he wants to associate with.
Mhm. I know. There's the Monte Cristo. Did you DM Frank to tell Frank to come on and talk about the Monte Cristo band?
Not yet, because both hands are in cigar mode right now.
Oh, okay. Yes, but I would love Frank to come on. Frank's just
Yeah.
fascinating in general because we can talk about cars and cigars and everything. So, and then he can tell everybody the stories. So, but anyway, that was very cool. I knew a little bit about H. Upmann, but not all of that. But I was very happy to hear that. Now, remember, everybody that's watching, and we're saying this because it's true because it's on the internet that on Monday, King Trump gets coronated, and on Tuesday there's no more Cuban embargo. So by Wednesday we'll be having Cuban cigars in America, and politicking, if you will, to be the cigar czar for that to make
You
sure that we
wish.
can own the
You
best.
wish.
Yeah,
God.
I do. I'm thinking to myself, seriously, why do we have this embargo? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have a friend that's really going to his inaugurational ball, and I said to her, "Listen, when you get Donnie alone, you grab him by the Keones because he's old now. There's not much there." And I said, "You tell him the Cuban embargo needs to end." And she's like, "Sure, that's exactly what I'm going to do." I'm like, I'm just trying to help, us poor Americans that can't get Cuban cigars, legally.
Yeah,
So, but everybody gets them apparently, but
of
that's
course.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Can you notice that our royalty is so much
Hmm.
enjoying his cigar that he has not talked for like a lot of time in the last
I
27
know.
minutes.
I'm having difficulty speaking over the sugary caramel flavor
There we go.
of the
There,
Monte Cristo Royal Reserva.
I thought these
there we
were
go.
just like dead leaves that are
Yeah,
rolled together and
yeah,
are
what
just
happened to
smoked, for which you've just paid
Usman,
almost around 300 pounds.
if you are able to go
Here we go.
past this very sort of bland description of cigars, you will attain. I think it's to do with the amount of classiness one puts into the cigar. What
There
you
it
Wow.
put
goes.
in is what you get out.
Mm. Okay.
Stephen,
And
I'm very hopeful that this will be a recorded show and we will have this for training and quality
let me say
purposes.
something, by the way. Let me say something.
Good.
I
Good
tend not
job.
to speak much on these shows, but today let me say something.
There we
I
go.
have been smoking H. Upmanns for the past 2 months, down to basically 2 people, Usman being one of them, another chap in London, Mustafa, very good friend of mine we smoke with. It's down to 2 people. I am swayed by people's persuasion. They said, both of them, in various different ways, you're an idiot for missing out on the H. Upmann
Oh, I bet you that's exactly what they said. I don't think they said it any other
aromas,
way.
flavors. And I said, why not? Let me try them.
Mhm.
I always try the stuff that's recommended to me.
So you do. So, well, I'm glad you like H. Upmann. Monte Cristo right now is loving the fact that you're smoking the Royal cigar that's 200 pounds or 250 pounds a stick. So they're very happy.
Almost 300. Almost
Let's
300.
just say 300 just to make everybody in America feel bad. That's like 470,
I actually
425 here.
think it's undervalued. I think this stick should be about 800 or 900 pounds. Um,
Why? It's
It
a
will be.
because
It
cigar.
will. It will
because
be in a couple of years.
because I appreciate
There we go.
that from seed to cigar, there is a very sophisticated process of growth, horticulturalism, of preserving leaves, drying leaves, fermenting leaves, etc. I mean, you can read about it. You don't need me to speak about it, right?
Right.
But unlike some people who just stick a cigar in their mouth and blow smoke, I like to understand the mechanics and the engineering behind a cigar.
Right.
The blending process behind this cigar, the aging process behind this cigar, and Usman being the sommelier here will probably expand on this,
Right.
has left us with a cigar which is very sugary in its profile. Now, people who don't smoke that much or are new to Cuban cigars, well, their ears should prick up at this because a lot of people are not able to differentiate too much between cigars other than the strength.
Right.
Now, I believe one of the best ways of enjoying a cigar is to do a very, very slow drag so as not to ignite the foot too much, a cold draw, and then to exhale out through one's nose, the retrohale, as Usman would call it, very slowly. And you will find with this cigar, if you blow hot smoke, you'll get lots of cedar. But if
Oh,
you
yeah.
go cold on it, the
Mhm.
characteristics of the cigar will change, the flavors, the notes will change because the combustion heat has changed.
Right.
And on a cold smoke, you will get more of the residual flavor of oils in the leaves rather than the charcoaly cedariness of hot smoke.
Right. So,
Where'd
Stephen,
you read that?
yeah. So, Stephen, I was gonna ask. I thought you were a cigar show, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I just thought some physicist has started the dynamics of how the hot air blows
Yeah. Well,
and
that
the
was.
cold
Yeah.
air blows.
And
Very.
don't forget, there's plenty of hot air on this program.
Oh my God, are you kidding? So he's wearing a baseball cap. Anyway,
Mhm.
but I mean, no, I mean, for the people that are cigar 101 people, I think when he expounds like that, or you expound like that, I think it actually helps them, whether they're smoking the non-Cuban or Cubans, because I think people are like, oh, that's interesting. Like I didn't know that, and it helps them when they're going to go do something. And if somebody wants to spend 300 pounds or 425 US on a Monte Cristo, that that has a cute little wrapper that, of course, you don't want to mention any names. Certain people aren't thrilled with. It's fine. So there you go. And whatever floats your boat.
I think
So
it's fair to say on this particular cigar, by the way, I know this program is about H. Upmann, but because I'm
mm,
smoking this, it's fair to say I would wonder what Usman's views are. This is very uncharacteristic of traditional Monte Cristo um, uh, aromas and tastes. Monte Cristos are kind of divisive. They're kind of Marmite. Some people love them a lot. Some people hate them. This one, I believe, is a cigar for all people, and especially if smoked correctly. I
right,
mean, there's a price tag associated.
right.
There's a sort of a scarcity associated, but it's a fucking good cigar, everyone.
There you go.
I mean, I think that is the highest level of academic comment I can say. It's a
He gi-
fucking good cigar.
Out of $5, ladies and gentlemen, he gives it $5. So there you go. Listen, as long as you like it, and there's a place in West Palm Beach called Smoke Inn, which a friend of mine owns, and I would go there, and there'd be guys smoking like these $2 green cigars, and I'd be like, "Do you like it?" And he says, "It's delicious," and it's just he enjoyed the aroma, the flick. So whether it's a $2 stick or $1,000 stick, if you enjoy it, that's all that matters.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. That's
that's
where
it.
it comes down
I,
to.
I, I think I think the lesson from this is not the enjoyment, it's how to enjoy it. It's really the
Yeah, yeah,
methodology of the smoke. It
yes,
can improve the flavor, it can draw out the flavors from the oils of the cigar.
right,
And that is possible with a colder smoke. In other
yeah,
words, you do not drag so as the foot of the cigar is glowing hot and red like the fire of Hades. You
right,
do a very slow, soft drag, and you will
right,
get more oils.
right. It's like making love to a woman. Take your time. There you go. That's the easiest way to do it.
That's the easiest way to do it.
Unless you're a woman on a woman, then I don't know what you do
Unless you're
there.
on the clock.
Unless you're on the clock, right? Then you got to speed it up. You got an hour you paid. It's like hurry up, speed it up. We got to go. So, but if you can take your time, we're good. So there you have it. In fact, when he had 8 seconds left, that's all. That's Jewish foreplay. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. That includes, listen, 8 seconds in the Jewish, just so we're clear, that is the foreplay, the sex, and the cuddling when you're done. All right. That's it. We're good. 8 seconds, we got things. Yeah, there you go. So what can I tell you? So, gentlemen, the topic that Riz is sent to talk about today, to the people down that are like, what the hell? He wanted to talk about UFOs. So what do you think of that? I swear to God, he sent me a thing. Goes, listen, the title of today's show is what?
I don't know which rock most people have been living under, but I don't know. Have you been hearing for the last month, 2 months, the various
UPAs,
drone and unidentified objects flying above major cities around the world? Has anyone heard this?
Yeah, it's been New Jersey, New York. Yeah, it's all over. It's been on the news. The Financial Times have had it. The Journal.
It's all over. And notwithstanding my brother, who Usman has met very briefly, my brother, if you remember the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind from the late 70s, my brother is basically the actor Richard Dreyfuss from the movie.
Okay.
He knows that there is something out there. He is
Why isn't he on the show?
He's been he's not that type. He is that
he's been abducted.
Hidden.
Got it.
He's the normal type.
Got it. I like it.
Yes, sir, royalty. Sorry, Israel.
Yes.
Royal protocol suggests that the younger brothers stay in the shadows.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Until the elder is dead. Once I'm dead, he can be the older brother.
You keep this up. That can happen sooner than later. Anyway, the interesting thing about UFOs, and because when you told me we were going to talk about it, I've read books on it since I'm a kid and blah, blah, blah. But I started to watch all the conspiracy videos about these guys that worked at Area 51 and this and that. And then the one guy that when he talks about UFOs, that I believe what he says only because he's been saying it since 1980 something is Bob Lazar. And Bob Lazar, when it comes to UFOs, is like the guy. But he's been talking about technology and propulsion and element 115 and all this stuff for 40 years, 50 years. And I'm like, interesting. His story's never changed. And now, like, when we talked about element 115, people were like, it doesn't exist. And then like 10 years ago, they actually made element 115. So I'm like, there's a lot to it, except I think we talked about this on other shows, is that I think the governments are scared to say that there really is an advanced civilization or there was technology before we were here, or we're like, an experiment or whatever it might be. Because think about it. If I tell you, and I talked to a friend of mine in the government in the 90s, we're on a flight, and he said to me, we were talking about UFOs, and he said, think of this. If I tell you UFOs are real, he says, I'm not telling you, I'm just saying, if I tell you UFOs are real and we've seen them and we talk to them and we have their technology, blah, 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 blah. He says, what are you? So right now, Pakistani, London, or UK, US. He said, but if I tell you UFOs are real, you're not a Pakistani anymore. You're not a UK, you're not a US citizen. You become an earthling. When you become an earthling, governments and religion, because religion's all crap basically, can't control you because you have no fear now. There's nothing to fear because there's something else out there. So I thought that was an interesting statement.
The relevance of talking or bringing it up in conversation today is, once again, I'll reference my brother. He sent me a very interesting video, sort of a YouTube sensation video.
Right.
This guy, I can't remember this guy's name. I think it's the same guy that you're talking about. And he is absolutely being all over the media saying that the revelation is going to come before Trump's inauguration.
Well, that's a couple of days.
And the and that countdown, the YouTube activity on this has been building up for the past 2 or 3 weeks. Are you, Usman, really staring stoically at a cigar, or is this really
No, I think he's frozen. The UFO gods got him again. Yeah. He took a picture so that we couldn't see what he was really doing. So.
Right. And so I have read and seen videos about that this grand revelation is coming before Trump's inauguration. Now, again, you've had soothsayers throughout history saying the end is nigh and da 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 da. And let me tell you something, the big advantage of social media, other than letting people with empty brains talk to each other, right? The
Or have
big
a cigar show.
advantage
Yeah. So
is the converse is perhaps a little bit much in terms of demonstrable pictures. I mean, I know a lot of stuff is made up on the internet
right.
and AI and misinformation. I get it. You still have to trawl through the same shit to get the real information, okay?
Right.
Wherever that is, right? But demonstrably intelligent people, seemingly people who have come from high and hidden governmental positions, are
Right.
pretty much saying the same thing, that aliens have been around since forever.
Yep.
Forever. We're talking tens of thousands, maybe 50,
Millions,
hundreds of thousands. Yeah, they've been all around. They're
millions of
amongst us.
years.
They're around us. Only since we started venturing into the 50s, when we started getting into space research, we managed to. When we say we, I mean, it always ends up in Area 51, right? But I'm sure
Right.
other places around the world, aliens do exist. They're in captivity. Some are in society, etc., etc., etc. And
Right.
what you said just earlier on, however much it may sound as a caricature of, in the sense of that this is all, government control and a way of keeping us masses in sort of in a kind of lockdown.
Mhm.
I think it's very true. I think Dostoevsky said that the best way to prevent a prisoner from escaping the prison is to convince him that he's not in a prison in the first place.
Correct.
And I think that's Dostoevsky.
Yeah.
And that philosophy is a very, very, very sound philosophy. We are under financial burdens. We are under debt burdens. We do not live in a free society. People make the rules up as they go. When I say people, powers that be
Mhm.
make up the rules as they go along, and then they will justify them, and they will
Mhm.
justify war, they will justify killing, they'll justify you staying in your home. You think you're free? You can't do the things that you could if you lived on a desert island. You may not have your luxuries, but you couldn't do those things. You
Right.
can't move from one place to another place without paying money
Right.
or without sacrificing your freedoms. So anyway, that's a bigger debate, right? Uh, but this grand revelation, well, it will either happen or it won't happen, right?
Right. Right.
Is about the various unidentified flying objects that are circulating above the major cities around the world. And the premise is that some of these are real, some of these are actually technology that we created 50, 60, 70 years ago, and we've got to that level of
Right.
technology. Um, Depending on which videos you watch,
Mhm.
apparently humankind, now to this day, imagine if we actually discovered alien technology in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Imagine in the last 80 years what, given all the resources in the world, given all the superpowers, the
Mhm.
intelligence, imagine what we've done with it now. And apparently the suggestion is we can do pretty much, if you can imagine it, you can pretty much do it.
Well, Bob
um
Bob Lazar still says that we cannot. The alien spacecraft that he worked on was able to. He says all the stuff that we have in our arsenal has a push propulsion. So when you fly a plane or a jet or a rocket, it pushes. It shoots out and it pushes forward. The alien technology apparently bends space and
yes,
time.
yes, I've heard this.
When it bends space and time, it just travels
It's
effortlessly. So when people go
essentially interdimensional
right,
power,
but here's
interdimensional travel power.
right,
It's the bending of gravity.
right.
So if you've got 2 points that far apart, so if we take a piece of paper, I've seen this done, so it's not me saying it.
Right.
Yeah, so you have a point there and a point there. You bend space and time to make those
Yep.
2 points connect. Something
Here's
like
what,
this. This is
but
a very good.
here's what's interesting. So if I can do that,
What
and
do I
people
know?
go,
I'm
"Oh,
just a physicist.
I know, but here's what's interesting about what you just said, and Einstein said it too. So you're right up there with him. Is that if I live on Pluto, but I can bend space and time and literally go between here and Pluto, which that flight takes 20 years under the technology that we know of. But I'm like, my home's on Pluto, and this is all a facade, but I'm going to come hang out with you in London. I bend space and time. I'm in London in 10 seconds. Right. So if that's as easy as it is, and the fact that the government's, the William Shakespeare thing, thou protest too much,
Mm.
they protest too much. Like there's too many videos, there's too many this. You can't keep saying it's swamp gas. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't when you look at cave artwork, or you look at paintings from like the 13th or 14th century that had aliens and UFOs in them. You can't
Giants,
keep denying, yeah,
giants.
giants. And here's another one which I thought was interesting. I was reading a book about Chinese mythology in general. At the end of the book, the guy just like at the end, he was just like, think about this. He said, if you look at the Chinese zodiac has 12 out of the 12, 11 real animals. He said, and then there's a dragon. He goes, Chinese didn't just pull a dragon out of their tuchus. There was a dragon, apparently. And for whatever reason, it's not here or whatever. But I was like, interesting, because if you go around the world, they have mythology about dragons where these people never met. So it's very interesting when the governments are so easy to dismiss. We're really at the end of the day, I don't think so. Now, do I think the Earth is flat? I don't believe that theory. The inner Earth stuff, I have no clue. Maybe they say the moon is a base. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There was an astronaut that said when they landed on the moon, it rang like a bell for an hour. So I thought that was interesting. So, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. And unfortunately, unless a mega spacecraft flies over us in the next 24 hours, we'll never really know. I mean, it's not going to be ET phone home, I don't think. And, it'll be interesting to see how it happens. And some people believe they're already here. They look like us and they're infiltrating the government.
I
To keep
believe,
the worker drones.
I believe Earth is an intergalactic bus stop. That's
I
where we're
agree.
waiting.
Yeah.
We're waiting. And I'm saying this with the benefit of years of watching TV and reading and seeing this stuff. No, I don't mean this. I don't mean this in a bad way.
Right.
It's kind of all the signs are there, but as underlings, as we are perceived, right?
Right.
Underlings, we are funneled towards certain ideas. Stay in your home, pay tax, live, die, goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of funneled all the time. We do not live in a free society.
Right.
We have only perceived free expression, freedom of speech. These are perceived things. There are clearly certain things that we are considered lunatics for thinking,
Right.
even though there's ample, I won't say evidence, but there's ample pointers to alien technology.
Right.
The evolution of humankind has not been linear. Apparently, we were much, much more sophisticated 50,000 years ago. There have been no end of stories of, mass cataclysms that wiped out most humans and started again. Whichever myths you go to, religions you go to, if you look at all different fingers, they all seem to be pointing in similar directions, right? And I personally believe, for one believe, that the best way to access this scholarly discussion is through a fine Cuban cigar. In this
I
case,
agree.
a Monte Cristo Royal
Royal
Reserve.
Reserve.
I knew we had to get that in.
And it improves the conversation no end.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But no, it's an interesting thing. I've been fascinated with UFOs since I was a kid. I think I've seen a couple, and one was a few years back, and the person I was with was like, take a video. And I literally turned to them and I said, no, we're going to enjoy the moment. And they looked at me and they were like, what? I go, I don't live my life on the phone. I live my life in whatever my reality is that I'm sitting in, and I don't know what that is, depending on who you talk to. And I was just like, I want to enjoy the moment of what we're seeing. I don't need a video. What am I going to do with the video? Post it? No one's going to, they'll think it doesn't matter. I saw it. I'm good with
Enjoy
that.
it again and again.
Yeah. In here, I can see it and I'm good with that. And I just was like, I was looking at this is awesome. And it was like, there's no reason to video it. I said to another friend of mine, I said, if a little green guy and whatever they are showed up at my door, what am I going to do? I'm not going to video it. I'm like, cool. Tell me what you got. The best story though is from Skinwalker Ranch. I think I've told the story, but to me, this is the best story ever. Frank Knapp's book, for those people that want to read it. These two Navajo police officers were driving on one of the roads that are next to the Skinwalker Ranch. And as they came up, and I'm going to replace a cigarette with a cigar just because it's for smoking cigars. But they said like a 7-foot dog standing erect trench coat, fedora, smoking a cigar. And they look at each other like, what? And they literally stopped the car, had red eyes, red beaming eyes, and they back the car up. And when they get there, it's not there. But the imprints are there of the two paws of this thing that was standing erect, smoking with the
I've watched
fedora.
this.
Yeah, and
I've
I
seen
was,
quite a lot of coverage of this.
yeah, and I'm like, and I read the book and I'm like, wow. And then one of the guys who was an investigator out there had seen that dog, if you will, or that being. And then they moved to like Arlington, Virginia. And one morning, this kid was like, hey, Dad, there's a guy in our backyard. And so he looks, and what the guy saw was the 7-foot dog with the fedora with a trench coat. And he was just there. And he said, I was reading a thing that he said. He said, I saw it, it saw me. And it was sort of like acknowledging, like, yeah, I know you're, and it just disappeared. And I was like,
Am I
interesting.
right? This is the same story with regards to this ranch. So people have been seeing this creature for the last 300 years.
Longer. But the Native
Yeah,
Americans are the ones who talk about,
on that particular trail, people have been
yeah.
seeing this. So it's like Abominable Snowman, the
Mhm.
Yeti, Sasquatch, etc.
But
It's another one of those, right?
but
Now,
here's the wait, here's the other thing, if I may, which is more phenomenal. The people who own the ranch had bulls, like you know what a bull is, like 3 tons of whatever.
it's a
And these
cow with
bulls,
balls.
it's right, basically. So these bulls, they go to the ranch. The bulls aren't in their pens; they're in a trailer, 8 of them, and you can't get bull. And like they're just memorized. Like they look in the trailer, and like, how'd you get them in the trailer? And they woke the bulls up and they were hysterical and they like destroyed the trailer to get them out. But I'm like, there was all they told all these stories, and it's sort of like, okay, there's something going on. And in a way, one of the things is sort of like, we're here, we're telling you. And I think the other is it's like it's almost like mischievous children. You know what I mean? And it's so I'm not really sure. I just find it fascinating. Like I would go to Skinwalker Ranch, I'd hang out there for a couple of weeks to see. And then the first time, you know, like a bull would be put in a trailer, or we'd be chasing something and it would disappear in front of me. I'd be like, yeah, we got to go. The other story, which I thought was interesting, they were wearing night goggles and they looked into the sky and they actually saw creatures, they said, coming in and out of the sky, like peeling open the sky and coming in and out of another dimension, which I thought was
No,
fascinating.
I feel people who are seeing this are
Mhm.
having the benefit of New World cigars because they're quite strong, sort of quite hallucinogenic.
Yes, they are.
But 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 in seriousness, there have been so many sightings and
Mhm.
incidents and stories, and we are told, poo poo, it's nothing, it's all
Right.
nothing, all the time. I'm intrigued about this revelation. So the inauguration is in 2 days' time,
Yep.
right? I don't know
Yep.
on what basis. I don't know what basis, but this guy who was speaking, what was his name again, Stephen?
Bob
Remind me.
Lazar. Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar. Uh, he's not from the government, but apparently for the last 30 or 40 years, this has been his major pursuit. It's a bit like a. I don't know
So
if he's
Bob
going to come
Lazar.
out with a movie. I don't
Here's
know. I don't know if this is a plot line for a movie.
no.
Okay,
Let
it
me.
could be a
Here's
plot
Bob
line
Lazar.
for an elaborate movie. Yeah.
But let me give you Bob Lazar really quick. Bob Lazar worked at Area 51. Bob Lazar was hired to re-engineer the UFOs. He went out there with some friends and they filmed it. They got caught. He got fired, and then he went public with George Knapp on a television station in Las Vegas. So Bob Lazar is the one who blew the lid off of Area 51. So that's the Bob Lazar story. Just FYI.
So I don't think this is the same guy. I will share the video that I'm talking about
Okay.
as a link later on. But this guy has been researching. He's a doctor. He's been researching this for 40 years. His interest is that he had friends who were in the government so his assertion is that apart from governments around the world, there are black ops that are hidden, that are
Right.
actually controlled by the most powerful people in the world.
Right.
And these are the people who have aliens captive, are aliens. There's like hybrid. There's a whole
Right.
spectrum of people, half alien, aliens. Everyone is in collusion, and they're there to control the world or
Right.
farm the world or harvest data from the world or harvest
Right.
resources from, when I say the world, I mean Earth in this case, yeah, in this specific case. So there's no end of scientists who are talking about this, but this, I'm very intrigued about this pre-inauguration or inauguration
Right.
revelation, and I don't know why the two are connected. I'm quite intrigued. It's been in the not the popular press, but the kind, I won't say alternative press. I'll just say throughout social
The,
media, Instagram,
the
YouTube,
Pentagon in 2019, they did a press conference and they said they had off-world vehicles in their possession. They did it. I watched it live and I was like, no shit.
on C-SPAN.
No. CNN had a
Oh, I see.
Pentagon. The guy was doing, they were interviewing and about UFOs, and the guy said, we have off-road vehicles. Like it was no big deal. But I'll tell you two stories that are shocking. 1954, UFOs flew over the White House in America. And jets went to try to stop them. And the jet pilot said that they disappeared so quick when the jets took off that you couldn't stop. Like they literally stopped on a dime and turned around and left. And this is documented in the Washington Post in 1954. 1976, JAL airline was flying from over Alaska to Japan. And a UFO the size of, if you will, the O2 was following it. And everybody, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And the FAA investigator kept the tape and on the radar, and he showed this on a show. I never forgot this. He showed it on the show. They showed the plane and they showed this mammoth thing, which was the UFO. And this thing, the size of O2, the stadium, was doing maneuvers that he said are just impossible on radar. It would be here, then it was there, then it was here, and it followed the jet for like 3 hours. So there's documented cases. I think what the public or the aliens, whatever, hope is that the American public or the public in general globally gets amnesia. So we have to give you wars and we have to give you these issues so you forget that we're here. But I think it's getting to a point now where people are like, yeah, no, we're good. The Rand report in 1960 said, don't tell the Earthlings that there's UFOs because mass hysteria. I don't think we're going to have mass hysteria. I don't think people care. I was like I said to someone, if it lands in New York, a cab driver is going to be like, get out of my way.
Well, let's put it this way. Let's say there were no alien vehicles. Let's say they weren't. Yeah, 56 years ago, we got to the moon, right?
Well, allegedly, yeah.
Well, we at least had the technology to show that we could get to the moon, right?
We lost it, apparently.
I was diplomatic there, right?
Yeah.
But imagine what's happened in 56 years. I mean, look at robot technology in the last 10 years.
Yep.
Look at robotic technology. Look at AI. Look at the computer chip. The amount of data. So in 56 years, I would say that we probably, even if it's just humankind, we have the technology to do things much more capable than what we actually see. Right? Okay.
I don't know about that. I don't think when you watch these the UFO they chase that goes from sea level to 85,000 feet in a blink of a second. I don't know if we have that technology because of G-forces. I don't think we have that. I think there's technologies that we do have that they don't tell the public because like hypersonic missiles and AI. That's I see some of the stuff because we invest in some stuff that's out there for the military, and I'm like, okay. But we don't have what I think people think we have. I think the aliens have it. And if I had to bet Usman's life on this, because I love him, I'm not betting my own. Are you crazy? I would bet a dime to a dollar that the aliens exist and they've been here hundreds of millions of years before us. And as Graham Hancock said in his book, there's something we're missing in our DNA that we don't know. Pyramids kind of popped up overnight. The Mayan and Aztec legend is little white guys with beards built the pyramids. If you read their legends. So there's all this stuff out there. So the real question then becomes, at some point, what's going to happen? I know Trump said he's going to tell everybody. So if Trump really wants to be, and I say this tongue in cheek, king of the world, and aliens are going to go, we support Donald Trump with all our power and might, then he's king of the world. So maybe that's why there's going to be a big revelation. Maybe Donnie's an alien. Just saying.
It's hard these days to distinguish between marketing, hype, reality, what's right, what's wrong. It's hard these days. You really have to troll through shit to find things. So we can only, as they say, watch this space and smoke
it's going to be
cigar
interesting
whilst we wait.
Yeah. And the reason we're talking about this, kids, is because when you go to a cigar lounge or a chemist shop, when you sit with your mates, like we're doing every Saturday, you talk about different things. And this is something that we brought up. Last week was something else, the week before. So this is what you do. This is what cigars are all about. It's the bringing together of people and ideas and whatnot and experts. And that's what we do. And so,
Scholarly pursuits.
yeah, and that's what we like. And everyone, we have a good time. We hope you have a good time. And that's it. That's all I got.
I surely did have a good time because my cigar was wonderful.
Yes,
Have you
it's very
finished?
good.
I'm only
You're-
halfway through.
Oh, I know. We don't listen. We can keep.
You're smoking an Edmundo. It was gonna go more than that in any case. I was smoking a half Corona, so it was done now.
Postman was done an hour ago. So, he
I
did
had
his
a, I
HMN
had a,
thing. And he's
I
done.
had a half Corona yesterday morning. It lasted me 2.5 hours.
Now that he's learned to slow smoke and not like inhale it like it's candy.
I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this to begrudge Usman. I have really, really understood the benefits of slow smoking.
Wow!
Wow.
Finally!
Yeah, well, better late than
Congratulations.
never, as they say. Yeah, better late than never. But
I told that to most of my
I
dates.
have a different appreciation for cigar flavor versus cigar aroma. Before it used to be about
Yeah.
aroma,
Right.
and now it's turning into flavor, and it's a very enjoyable experience. And this experience is led by people like Usman,
Yep.
who, even though we say in tongue in cheek, right, is an educator, and people like this, right? Okay, when you watch the 5 minute sessions on cigar history, and hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks you're going to have a little bit of a compendium, maybe 6 or 7 histories.
Right.
What happens is you get a little bit more lured into the importance of a good cigar and a
Right.
good brand, and you start appreciating it. So I'm writing an article.
You can write?
I'm writing actually a series of articles. I went to university, studied physics and space science.
So
I'm
you
writing an
said.
article on cigar smokers. And when I say
Right.
cigar smokers, I don't mean generally, I mean specific cigar smokers, because watching this industry and watching various cigar smokers in various lounges, I personally only like smoking with, I can count the number of people that I actually enjoy smoking with.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 people, including the distinguished company that I'm sitting with right now. Yes.
Thank you.
There are only 5 people I actually enjoy smoking with. Everyone else kind of flows in and flows out, but those are
Right.
5 people I enjoy smoking with regularly, whether it's online or in person.
Right.
But in the course of smoking around lounges, in the course of the smoking career, I have started identifying different types of smokers. And what I'm now very interested in is putting pen to paper and getting a little bit of the aroma and flavor out of the smokers themselves, what
Okay.
they're about. What kind of smokers are there? You've got posers out there. You've got people who are cigar aficionados. You've got people who want to be cigar aficionados, people who call themselves cigar aficionados. They don't know fuck all. There are enthusiasts out there who are not aficionados. There are aficionados out there who are not enthusiasts.
Right.
There are educated people out there. There are stupid people out there. There is a range. And the reason why I'm enunciating this is because if you'd asked me this question 20 years ago, I had a very fixed one-dimensional perception of what cigar smokers were like. And
Right.
because the industry has grown, the diversity of products available in the industry has grown very sharply in the last 10 years at least. I mean, it's always been growing, but in the last 10 years, it's grown very sharply. Social media has helped so much because people now see that there's a coolness associated with this industry and smoking cigars, and some people are price smokers, some
Right.
people are leisurely smokers, some people like to smoke on it. So now I'm finding a platform, and this is a traditional platform, pen to paper, to explore individual cigar smokers. And I would like in the next 3 or 4 months to have a series of articles, and that will include Stephen, it will include Usman. What are these people about, right? Sort of character sketches. And the thing that it's doing for me, it is actually improving the overall smoke of any particular cigar. It's creating a bond to an industry that is a very, I mean, especially the Cuban cigar. I joke about it quite a lot, right? But it is, as they say, a homegrown industry. It's with limited resources, limited capital, but the marketing is spectacular. The distribution is spectacular. I mean, we're talking about a cottage industry product that's available around the world, and people trip over each other and pay top dollar for it.
I agree.
I'm actually quite proud. Pride is one of the 7 deadly sins, so proud is not the right word, but I'm very happy about the fact that one of those international products, Usman will know, from Sialkot in Pakistan, we make we make world's top footballs that are used in World Cups, for example, right? Soccer.
Yeah, football. We know what you mean.
Right. Okay, but it's a small time product.
Yeah.
I mean, and now I'm talking back to small time products, small output product that's available everywhere, and that's what's cool about it. So why not spend more time educating yourself? Why not spend time understanding the history, the origin, the roots, to increase your enjoyment? So when you spend X amount of pounds on a product, you get extra enjoyment out of it.
Or know the history at least. And that's what I said. We've talked, the first time you and I ever spoke, and even with Usman, there's just something old world and old school about, and I say gentlemen and ladies, of course, you smoke cigars as well, but when gentlemen smoke cigars and they sit around and they talk, because it's just, it's as my mom would say, it's just boys being boys. And that was it. And that's all it is. It's like we talk, we enjoy, and whether your opinion's right or wrong, it makes no difference. It's the brotherhood that we're all part of with this cigar. And that's it. And it brings everybody together. And it's that simple.
That's exactly right.
There you go. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think?
Earth calling Orson, come in, Orson. Earth calling Orson, come in, Orson. It's time for me to beam back to planet wherever.
I have to go back to Pluto. I've got a I've got a asteroid to blow up and kill the Earthlings. So, gentlemen, as always, it's a pleasure to see you both. Usman, thank you for the history, and I know you didn't get to say a lot after 30 minutes because someone else did. But next week, do we know what we're going to talk about?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
Another brand.
Yes, another brand. Good. Let's not narrow it down or anything. It's just we're going to talk about another brand. It'll be beauty. And there you go.
Now that Raza has been talking a lot about Monte Cristo, let's do Monte Cristo next week.
All right, Monte Cristo. And Rizzo, what would be really good for next week then, since we're going to talk about Monte Cristo, is your best friend.
I'll smoke an H. Upmann.
Frank. No, but you should have Frank come on next week because then he can talk all about cigar bands.
Oh yes.
And it would be more embarrassing if I have to invite him since he's your friend. So, so you should ask Frank to come on the show while we talk about Monte Cristo, and we could talk about if he comes on, we could talk about cars and design and stuff, and it'll be great.
Let's do that. We'll have a Monte Cristo battle royale.
I actually have that Monte Cristo Especial that I will smoke next week. I will smoke that one next week then. So next week's a Monte Cristo week.
It's a Monte Cristo week.
Okay. I like it. So
signing out, folks.
All right, everybody. As always, gentlemen, a pleasure. Geo to everybody. Enjoy. We will see you next Saturday. Same time, same bat channel. And also you can get us wherever you get your podcasts. Check the links below. And to Riz's display, you can also get the link to the sponsor if you want to buy the timing light thing. So I got they sent us 50 of them. They're all over the house now. It's great. I just light the house up when I feel like it. So, and that's it, kids. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you all next week. And Riza, don't leave. We have to remind you because of the Alzheimer's. I'm just saying. So yes, kisses. Love you too. Gotta go. All right, everybody.
Thank God that one's over. Bloody hell.
And we